They're warming up the microphones again. Russian threat is growing. Most dangerous time in a generation. Whole nation readiness. Same drum. Louder beat. And listen, let me be absolutely clear before the usual crowd starts hyperventilating in the comments section. I have no problem fighting to protect this country. None. Zero. I love this land. I love the people in it. I love the messy, contradictory, stubborn thing we call Britain. I'd defend it against anyone who genuinely threatens it. But here's the line, here's the boundary, here's the hill I'll die on, metaphorically or otherwise. I will only do that when the royal family and the rich are fighting right alongside me. Not watching, not advising, not doing morale-boosting photo ops in a clean jacket with medals they didn't earn. Fighting. Same risk, same fear, same dirt under the nails. Because every time I hear national duty, I notice something funny. Almost magical, really. The duty always travels downhill. The pattern nobody's allowed to say out loud. Every crisis, same choreography. The threat is existential. The language is we. The sacrifice is shared. But when you zoom in, when you really zoom in, the bodies doing the bleeding all come from the same postcodes. It's not Kensington, it's not Mayfair, it's not the private estates with gates and armed security and backup generators. It's working class kids. It's regional towns. It's people whose schools didn't have a rowing club but did have asbestos. And now we're being told again, prepare, mobilize, be resilient, cool, love that energy. So let me ask the forbidden question. Where are they? Where is the royal front line? If this is truly a fight for national survival, then I want to see the monarchy sweat. Not symbolically, not historically, not with stories about someone's great-great-uncle who served in 1914, I mean now. I want to see princes in fatigues, not ceremonial ones. I want to see royals learning how to clear rooms, not wave from balconies. I want to see them cold, exhausted, scared, and accountable. If the nation is under threat, then the nation's figureheads don't get to remain decorative. You don't get to embody the country in peacetime and outsource the danger in wartime. You can't be the face of Britain when it's profitable and a ghost when it's lethal. That's not leadership, that's branding. And while we're at it, the rich. Ah yes, the patriots of capital, the ones who love Britain so much they keep their money in offshore accounts, their kids in foreign schools and their escape plans permanently booked. They'll fund a think tank, they'll write an op-ed. They'll sponsor a conference with the word security in the title. But fight? Funny how patriotism always stops at the edge of their comfort. If the threat is real enough for conscription talk, it's real enough for billionaires to pick a side that involves risk, not rhetoric. No more war where the poor pay in blood and the rich pay in press releases. I'm not a pacifist. I'm a fairness maximalist. Let's kill the straw man early. This isn't anti-army. This isn't pro-Russia. This isn't naive kumbaya nonsense. This is about symmetry. If the state wants maximum loyalty, it needs maximum credibility. You don't get unity by demanding sacrifice from the bottom while insulating the top. You get resentment, you get cynicism, you get people quietly checking out of the national story, because deep down, everyone can feel it when a war is being sold rather than shared. The psychological contract is broken. Here's the thing defense chiefs don't like talking about. Modern states don't just rely on weapons, they rely on belief. Belief that the system is worth defending, belief that the risk is mutual, belief that no one is being treated as expendable. And right now, that belief is cracked. You can't ask people struggling with rent, energy bills, and a permanently unstable future to also shoulder the ultimate sacrifice while watching elites float above it all like untouchable NPCs. That's not how morale works. That's how empires quietly rot from the inside. So here's my deal. I'll show up, I'll train, I'll fight, I'll stand in the mud and the noise and the fear if this country genuinely needs defending. But I'm not doing it alone. I want a Britain where the royal family bleeds with the nation, not just poses for it. The rich don't get a VIP exit while everyone else gets a rifle. Whole nation defense actually means whole. No exemptions wrapped in tradition. No cowardice disguised as diplomacy. No hierarchy of sacrifice. Because if we're all in this together, then be in it together. Same boots, same danger, same odds. Anything less isn't patriotism, it's feudalism with better PR. Who is Britain willing to lose? Here's the question sitting underneath all the speeches, all the warnings, all the carefully chosen phrases like readiness and resilience. Who is Britain willing to lose? Not in theory, not in abstraction, in practice. Because every nation that goes to war makes that calculation, whether it admits it or not. Someone's children are sent forward. Someone's are kept safe. Someone's grief is framed as noble sacrifice, while someone else's never arrives because they were never in danger to begin with. And right now, if we're honest, the answer hasn't changed much in a few hundred years. It's still the same people being asked to absorb the impact. It's still the same communities providing the bodies, it's still the same accents being memorialized. That's not an accident, that's a design feature. The lie of equal stakes. We're told this is different now, that modern warfare doesn't discriminate, that missiles don't care about class. That's technically true, and socially meaningless, because class doesn't decide who dies first. It decides who is exposed longest, who lives near bases, who gets trained versus who gets protected, who has the option to leave before things escalate, who has a second passport tucked into a drawer just in case. When elites talk about national survival, they're rarely talking about their own physical survival, they're talking about asset continuity. The country can burn as long as the portfolio doesn't. What sacrifice used to mean? There was a time when leadership at least pretended to share the risk. Kings went to war, nobles led charges, elites died visibly enough that the lie held. It wasn't moral, it wasn't just, but it was understood. Now leadership is abstracted, sanitized, professionalized. War has become something you administer rather than endure. The people who decide are never in the blast radius of their decisions, and the further that distance grows, the more contempt quietly builds among the people expected to carry the consequences. You can't build loyalty on that kind of imbalance forever. Patriotism isn't blind obedience. This is where people get it twisted. Patriotism isn't silence, it isn't compliance, it isn't saluting while someone else counts the dead. Real patriotism is demanding that the country live up to its own claims. You don't love a nation by letting it become a machine that grinds the same people over and over again while calling it tradition. You love it by refusing to let sacrifice become a one-way street. A country that is truly united does not need to coerce loyalty. It earns it. The unspoken bargain. There is an unspoken deal between citizens and the state. You ask for our labour, our taxes, our time, our obedience to the law. In return, we expect protection, fairness, and dignity. When you escalate to asking for our lives, that bargain becomes sacred. And sacred bargains don't tolerate loopholes, not for bloodlines, not for bank balances, not for inherited titles or national symbolism. If some lives are structurally shielded while others are structurally exposed, then what you have is not a nation, it's a hierarchy. This is the moment of truth. The defense chiefs say the threat is growing. Fine, then let this moment become something else too. A test of whether Britain still believes in itself enough to stand honestly. Not with slogans, not with ceremony. Not with carefully staged unity, but with equal risk. If the royal family truly represents us, let them stand where we stand. If the rich truly believe in this country, let them stake more than capital. Because a war fought only by the expendable is not a defense of the nation, it's a protection racket with a flag on it. So I'll say it one last time. I will fight for Britain, I will fight for my neighbours, for the people who make this place function, for the ordinary lives that never make it into speeches, but I will not fight to preserve a system that has already decided I'm more disposable than someone else. If this is a shared threat, then share it fully. If this is a national emergency, then let it reach the highest floors, not just the lowest streets. Stand with us, or stop pretending this is about all of us, because a nation that demands sacrifice without equality is not under threat from abroad, it's already at war with itself. Not left, not right, just real.